All right, what a lovely morning right from Arua City. Today is the 10th of the month of May. You're most welcome from wherever you're watching us from this early morning. We say it's a great pleasure having you on board this morning. And from Arua City, I must say the weather is so bright with no signs of rains that may also be witnessed during the due course of the day. I don't know about how it will be able to end. But for now, allow me also to welcome you in a special way. Maybe from where you are watching us from. It could be within Western Sub-region. It could be within Acholi. It could be here just in Lango sub-region and entirely within northern Uganda. We say we love you so much. We also welcome you on board. And for those of you watching us in parts of central Uganda, the western also really, we also say we love you so much as Western Television. We are already here to keep you updated and informed of what is happening in and around your vicinity. And that is the reason as to why you must always be watching Western Television. And today is a historical day. And why must I say that it is so historical? This is the day that we have been waiting for 10 years. And 10 good years is not really an easy day. And I must say these are quite so many days where the government of Uganda has been waiting for this day to start. And also that is also to help enable the country undergo what we call National Population Housing Census exercise. That already commenced yesterday with the census night, where now today we shall be seeing the actual action going on, where the physical enumerators will be coming physically to where people are. This is also in the homesteads, where also really they will be able to want to ask information about people's data, maybe in terms of who you are, where you come from, what clan do you have, how many wives you have. Definitely, we are also going to be expecting that to be going on this morning, and this is also really something that will be going for 10 days. That is from 10th and that is 19th, and this is already where I want to remind you to be part of. And you must also ensure that you give accurate information to these enumerators who may be able to come to your homes and ask you about certain issues here and there. And then you should also really be very, very much honest to yourself. Give the honest information. That is also really how, at the end of the day, we may also really expect also to see these issues that we're talking about be addressed, because today we are grappling with challenges of poor infrastructure. We are complaining about shortage of drugs in the medical facilities. We still continue about poor education in the UP schools, and this is already the solution the government of Uganda will be using. That is also to budget for the country in the next 10 years, and this is where I want to implore each and every citizen to also really be part of the maybe the accounting. And if you see maybe the enumerators are about to forget your homestead, call them, tell them you come and count me, I'm here. That is already something at the end of the day I really feel will be quite well and good, because these are human beings who may forget your homes. But if you see them walking away maybe from your neighborhoods, call them and tell them to solely come and ensure that your data is captured. Because if your data is not captured, at the end of the day, in the next 10 years, if you move maybe to a health facility and do not find drugs, then you need not to blame anybody, because government could have allocated drugs just for those who had also made themselves be counted. And then you who is also leaving yourself out, and then definitely you may also do a disservice to each and everybody out there. And then that is the reason as to why we want to say you must ensure that you are counted, regardless of who you are, what you do. You always have to make sure that you are going to be counted. And this is also where we are also going told that refugees are going to be counted. Each and everybody is not going to be left out. And this exercise cuts across where they are also going to be counting those whom we call the floating population. And this is also already where we did see the truck drivers, maybe those who are moving out of the country also will be counted in there. But so long as the 9th of May caught up you and found you up, maybe you in the country, definitely you will be able to be counted in there. And this is also something that will be done for once this year, and the next time it will be returning will be 2034. And I want to take this honor to now welcome you and say we must embrace the exercise. We need not to shun the exercise, so that also the government of Uganda can use the information rightly in there. And moving away from that, talking about the same facility where we also talking about so many issues that are happening today. And really, if you realize, if you see what is happening elsewhere, you realize that so many people had also started the government of Uganda's population is increasing. And definitely we also did witness this with what is happening at the main market, where we did see so many people emerging in the streets saying the facility is not enough. But today, if you move there, you will realize that the facility is really not fully occupied. And government of Uganda has an alternative, gazetted a number of market venues, which among others include what we call the Lobida market, which is still very, very much vibrant today. And you also realize realize that Gaga Textile Market was also really another that was gazetted by the government of Uganda, and Club Market, and so many others, not forgetting the Social Center Market, which today, to me, I really feel that it's not fully occupied. And really, if at all these vendors and traders also took advantage of this facility, it would be quite well and good. But till date, nothing has been done, where we are seeing the traders also really shunning the market. I don't know for over what reasons, but really, if you move there, you will there are a handful of market vendors in this facility, and then no customers. Most of the buildings, most of the stores, the houses that were constructed also really are still not fully occupied up to now. Others are grounded with also really bushy areas. Others have also been turned into what I do not want to mention on here. But if you move there, you will be able to side and also really understand what we are talking about, the social center market in there, which hasn't been fully embraced in there. Maybe let's first connect and see what exactly is happening there. That will also really help us paint an image of what the vendors are saying exactly, because it is them that are going through these challenges. Let's first get to hear what the vendors are saying as we continue with the show later on.
Center. I think by the question you have asked me why people are not coming here, one is the place is hidden. Because some people think that this is barracks. They don't take it as a market. Because if they see from there, they see the barracks, they think these houses behind this way, they are for soldiers or policemen or police ladies who are using them. So if a person is new, cannot know that there is a market, because it is hidden inside, so they don't have access for it. So I think the people who planned it to be like this, I think made a mistake, because even the entries, they don't show anything like inside there is a market. So in doing so even those who are selling within here, because now the customer don't come here, they feel somebody spends the whole day without selling. From there, no option. Needs food at the table, at home, so tends to move out of this place to go and look for options whereby he or she can sell and get something for the family, because everybody is struggling to look after the families and the other issues. So I think there should be more advertisement of the market than maybe any other thing. Reason being, so many people don't know the place. Those who know, they feel as if there's no market this way. So in doing so, it makes work for the people here very difficult to operate. You can see the place is empty. It's empty, not that people don't want to be here, but they want. But somebody sits here the whole day, the second day, the whole day does not sell. What do you expect out of that person to do? Will look for options. So I think that is the main reason why people maybe tend to shy away from this place.
What the vendors are saying, that is the leadership of the vendors, and really that is in relation to what we are talking about, the market and not being fully taken advantage of up to date. And today, if you really move there, you will realize that so many people are not in there, and we still have, where we did see people still on the streets. And recently, with the implementation of the trade order, we did see so many street vendors being evicted off the streets. And I really feel these people would actually be incorporated in this main facility, that is a regional facility. First of all, at the upper floor, where we are seeing nothing is being done, and today the stores up there remain unoccupied. And definitely this is only maybe due to the mess that we did witness happening at the facility. And up to date, really nothing is also really being done. I don't know what you think as the viewer. You can also really share your opinions with us in relation to what we are talking about in there. And I really feel if nothing is done, then definitely at the facility where government invested billions of money will be put to waste, which wouldn't also be quite well for people of this region here. And so many challenges continue to grapple with the facility. And really, if you realize that also really where is happening in there's no power, and really where sometimes also really we do witness that there's no water in facility toilets, really it is quite unfortunate. And really these are things that also really that may not make move and embrace the facility, and that is already something I want to also remind you, the viewer, of, because if you move to the facility, you realize that most of the times there has been darkness. But recently, yesterday, we did take a walk at the facility. At least we did witness power, where others already were said on the ground ground floor is solar, and the upper facility is Kokoliriko, where also these people have challenges in terms of payment in here and there. But really, we shall be able to keep you updated of what is happening in there. But really, what we need to talk about is also the social center market that really remains unoccupied up to now. And then definitely who exactly is to make the people occupy that facility is also something I really feel we need to talk about, because if we do not talk about it, then definitely we are going to be seeing people still lagging behind in there. And at the end of the day, government money is going to be put into waste like that without necessarily also really understanding what exactly also needs to be done. And really that is something I feel at the end of the day that needs to be done. And then if people do not take advantage of it all, and then definitely we may also really see people not taking advantage of the facility. And yet government invested a lot of billions to also really see to that also really such these gazetted markets also really help that's generate government revenue in there. Because at the end of the day, if the market is fully occupied, then definitely people are going to be attracted, and government is also going to come and take market dues, which also really sometimes go directly to the local government. And now let's see what happened elsewhere yesterday at the Rural Regional Referral Hospital. Yesterday we did have the assistant also district city resident city commissioner, that is Job Richard Machua, who is in charge of Central Division, also moving to the hospital staff and to talk to them about socio-economic transformation. And remember, these recently appointed assistant RSCCs have 3 mandates mainly. That's 1, to fight corruption; secondly, to support government programs; and thirdly, also to promote patriotism. And these are things we need to talk about. And what they did yesterday is in line with that, is promotion of the government programs. And really, the government of Uganda is striving very much today to see that also really people move out of poverty, and that is why the issues of socio-economic transformation is very, very much emerging. And really, at the end of the day, we want to see that also really working quite well and good. And yesterday we did see this meeting where also so many of these staffs were brought together, and really they also expressed concern on what exactly we'll be doing. And they were tipped on that is bird rearing, that is poultry keeping also really as an alternative to their source of incomes, because these are civil servants who may not entirely depend on their salaries for their other activities, but really to support them with the other government programs. I really feel that is well, quite and good, because it is going to empower them economically. And really without also economic empowerment, we may see people who are working maybe as civil servants earning that juicy money that we think they are earning. At the end of the day, we see nothing on them. That is why the issues about empowering them economically is concerned. And we did have an expert who is in poultry keeping who advised this people actually to keep, that is the local breed of poultry, and which is according to him is already very, very much marketable in there, due to the fact that it is first of all self-sustaining, and secondly it has ready market, and then the meat also really is very, very much good there. Let's first connect to Arua Hospital and see what the leaders also really happened in there, together with also the nurses and doctors who were also really tipped on that is poultry keeping as an alternative source of income to their livelihoods in there.
People don't give them house. They either sleep with them in the small corner of the house, or
they sleep in the tree.
In the tree, or they are mixed with animals where they can get infected. A healthy chicken must have their own house, which is properly aerated. Don't keep them in the human houses, which are not aerated. Chicken have got their natural clothing, no matter what it is. Let there be enough air to move where they are. Those feathers are enough coat for them to prevent them from suffering from cold. So their homes must be properly aerated, ventilated actually. I don't know if there's any other question. Nobody asked me why the local chicken, other than the improved breeds or the hybrid or the exotic chicken. Nobody asked that question.
And you can answer it.
Well, actually there are so many reasons. One, the local chicken are self-sustaining.
Give me the reason why the local chicken is better. I think this is worth noting.
Yeah, they can raise their own parent stock, unlike the exotic. Two, they are hardy in the sense that they are disease resistant. They don't die anyhow. Three, their meat quality is better. Products are better and fetch more money. Fourthly,
about the meat quality, it's that medical aspect of it. Yes. You know, these broilers take a lot of drugs, which become inducing agents for cancer and what have you. Yet this one, local one, very organic. Eh?
The local chicken actually fetch more money.
One is that we need to organize ourselves. Surely we should organize ourselves. And then Mr. Mangwa is going to give us
more
build of quantities, and also comes to give us more technical guidance. So we should start as soon as possible. Maybe tomorrow morning we will get how best we can.
Because actually we didn't have the much knowledge about the agriculture, what they have told us. But from today at least we have got the knowledge that they have empowered us with, and we are really positively we are going to take up maybe with the poultry or agriculture. We shall really have that positive mind to start it. Yeah. And wherever we are defeated, we shall still call them and we ask for their guidance.
Yes, thank you so much. Ogena Jonathan, I'm an intern nurse midwife in Arua Regional Referral. I'm so delighted by the presentation that we have just had this morning from our assistant RSCC and Mr. Charles about the enhancements of the socio-economic status of our people, inclusively as the medical personnel. You will realize that most of the conditions that sends us our patients here is just because of their social and economic status. So, but these presentations has really enlightened us that if we take up the chicken business, you are able to start. We realize most of our community people, they have chicken there, but people their mindset is not well oriented. We realize that this is a business that can be sustained. Only that we need to pick up from the presentations. This is something which is practical, can be done. But in our society, there are people who don't have the mind to maintain or sustain the business. So, but from today's morning, I'm so delighted that at least I'm so grateful and hopeful that we can pick up from here and we improve our society generally. So we are just praying for this movement to continue to enlighten our people, and we are so hopeful that we have been given that we will still have make more consultations from them, and I believe from this we will be able to raise our socio-economic status.
2 days. My name is called Adol Rigeta, a nurse in the hospital here. I'm a nursing assistant. I'm so grateful for the knowledge which you have got today about the society transformation which has been brought by our RSCC. Actually, I'm just so glad that I've received this information which will help a lot. Where especially I was touched when he talked about the transformation of our society for those who are knowledge, and if they don't also transform the incoming society, there is a lot of problem which is being realized, like young children being stealing things because they have now no knowledge. So with these few remarks and the knowledge we have received, I think this one will empower us also to teach our young ones. When we teach them the knowledge not here, I think in the society there we will realize that there will also be some changes which can arise when we keep them busy with this kind of knowledge we have received.
I am a priest of a bishop of socio-economic transformation of Uganda, an ideology of socio-economic transformation of Uganda. That bishop is President Yoweri Museveni Kaguta. I am a priest of that bishop. My role is to come here and mobilize the population to embrace the government program of socio-economic transformation of our society. So I am going to in effect positively everybody, civil servant, non-civil servant, Christians, Muslims, pagans, everybody is going to be positively affected to embrace the gospel of socio-economic transformation.
All right, that is Job Richard Matua, the Assistant Resident City Commissioner, that's for Arua City, in charge of Central Division, who also did take that walk, that is to Arua Regional Referral Hospital, to talk to the staffs in there about socioeconomic transformation. And remember, these are medical personnel, these are civil servants. Somebody out there may be thinking that these are wealthy and these are good people. Why must he solely take the initiative that he said he is not going to be leaving anybody behind, irrespective of what you do, maybe where you come from, and who exactly you are. He is going to be going with the campaign to each and every person, and he wants to see that government of Uganda, through His Excellency Dr. Museveni's dream, that is of socioeconomic transformation, is realized, and that's already part of also where we are also being told, mainly they were employed with 3 activities. One is to promote, that is government programs. Secondly is to fight corruption, and thirdly it is to promote patriotism, because if at all you do not also talk to somebody about patriotism and the person does not love the country, we may also see them engaging in the very bad activities. For instance, corruption, or maybe theft of government resources in there. Somebody may prefer calling it. But at the end of the day, talking to these people about government programs, also really talking to them about socioeconomic transformation is the way to go, because once somebody is entirely depending on salaries, definitely it becomes very, very much difficult for them to continue exercising other duties and other roles. First of all, this person will be working under fears, really sometimes of maybe how they will be able to spend the money, and that also really affects the kind of maybe output that they will be giving out because of the fears. I really want to say issues about socioeconomic transformation needs not to be left that is in the hands of the rural people alone. I want to see each and everybody be engaged in there, be it a middle class, be it somebody who is of low class. Definitely we all have to ensure that we are economically empowered, and that is also really something that does summarize other topic to that. And now let's look at other stories happening elsewhere, as Uganda Airlines acquires a temporary Airbus that is to boost on operations. Is also another story that we are seeing on the pass this morning, and really this is quite a good news, really, as Ugandans, which we must always jubilate of, because if at all there's any good news, and then definitely we must clap hands and we must appreciate the little that has been done, and that is why we must support Uganda Airlines, that has signed a short-term contract, that is already lease agreement, with Global Airlines based in Johannesburg, South Africa. That is for a mid-range aircraft in there, and these are things also we want to also see to that also more maybe AMUs are signed. And according to a statement released by that is the National Carrier on Thursday, the acquisition of the extra, that is a A320 aircraft, is majorly a boost that is also to enhance operations, or that's operations efficiency, as some of its aircraft proceed on scheduled maintenance in there. And these are things also at the end of the day we want to see it be reflected on the economy, because that is also generating a lot of money for the country, more so for those who may wish to travel. And really, if at all you want to travel, then definitely we must also choose what is Ugandan. And really this campaign of buy Uganda, build Uganda, really does not also really stop on the products we are going to be buying. We must also really embrace what the government of Uganda is doing, and through the airlines restoration. And definitely, if at all I'm going to be traveling maybe any time from now, I would also really wish to travel with Uganda Airlines. And for you as the viewer out there, if at all you also wish to travel, then definitely we also need to ensure that we embrace what is Ugandan. At the end of the day, that will be quite well and good. According to the airline, the additional aircraft will also address capacity limitations that is on routes like Johannesburg, Kinshasa, Nairobi, and also Lagos. Uganda Airlines emphasizes the commitment that is also related to maintaining schedule integrity and delightful customer experience in there. At the end of the day, we also want to see that everything that is maybe is on the online about needs to be Ugandan, and must also really reflect to us the Ugandans. For instance, also giving us food items that really maybe consumed in Uganda would also be an advantage for us. At the end of the day, I really feel that would also quite well work for us. Ms. Jennifer Bamturaki, the Chief Executive Officer that is of the National Carrier, in the statement said they have seen significant growth that is in the demand on a number of routes, which have also introduced that is certain pressure into the operations, and enhance the need to get another aircraft on a lease agreement in there would work for them. And I really feel that is also something at the end of the day, if we talk about, then definitely that would also be quite well and good. And this 160-seater aircraft features that is a class cabin with 12 business class seats and 138 economy seats, along with increased baggage and cargo also really capabilities in there. The lease A320 will operate, that is also really for a period of 6 months, and the national carrier will also so far has 6 aircrafts, and that's something at the end of the day we also cannot leave out. And I really feel that these are things that we need to talk about, because if the country is developing, then definitely we must be proud of what the country is really doing. And moving on from that, let's now look at something about census today. We cannot also really continue talking about census, and we must also continue reminding you of about census until the last day, so that also really each and everybody is catered for, and mothers also to provide information on children. That is the information we are receiving about the census exercise in there. And I also really want to take this opportunity now to remind you of that as a mother out there, we must also ensure that we give accurate information about the children. That would also be quite well, as the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, a body abbreviated as UBOS, has clarified that women will be responsible for answering also the questions about pregnancy and the number of children born within the household. And this is during the national census exercise that is also on, which did commence yesterday with the census night. And today we are seeing the actual action going on, and where we are going to be seeing enumerators moving across our different homes, also to gather information about our homestead. And I really feel that will be quite well and good, because we are saying it matters to be counted, and that means also really you as a viewer out there, you must ensure that you're not left out, because if you are left out, then definitely the government of Uganda may not be knowing about you. And really for government to allocate resources, definitely it wants to based on that is factual information. And really, how are you going to be getting the factual information about the number of the citizens? Definitely it is through providing the information that will be taken today, that is already in the census exercise that will be captured tonight. And really I want to ask each and everybody to give the information to the census exercise, and this is going to be done once, and this is also where we are going to be seeing the people moving to your homesteads and gather information about you. And the World Health Organization defines that fertility rate at the average number of children during the productive year, and really which is typically between the age of 15 to 49 years. And this is something also really I feel I need to remind you of. And Dr. Mukiza emphasized the enumerators will prioritize respondents' privacy so that they can also really freely avail factual information. And this is also something at the end of the day we must also really ask people not to be worried of at all. If at all you are scared that where is my information going to be used, definitely you not to be worried, because the information is going to be treated with absolute confidentiality. And this is also really where we are not going to be hearing that your information was taken this. And then the issue about capturing photos, we also say that also we have also been told enumerators need not take photos. For instance, you may also be bragging out there, now you are scared. Enumerators are going to come to your home and find it very dilapidated, and you may also want to run away from it. What we are saying is the enumerators are not going to be taking photos of your home, but rather they are going to just ask information about the numbers, and they will be interested in the numbers and maybe how number of housing around. That is already something at the end of the day which they will be asking tonight. And UBS officials appeal to the public to cooperate and provide that is accurate information during the census exercise. And they are also confident that their teams are already prepared and will address any challenges that may arise. And Dr. Didaka Sokoth, the UBS spokesperson, clarified that mothers are the primary source of information that is also on children in the household. And however, she said if a mother is also already not available to give information, that is when other people may also come in to also assist the mothers in the Mr. Koth reiterated the census will capture data that is also for the entire population, including people with disabilities, refugees, and the elderly, the children, and others. And the 2024 national census, the sixth, that is the sixth in the history of Uganda's independence, which will begin today and run for 10 days. And this one, unlike the previous ones, is going to be digital, and also where we also encourage each and everybody to be part and partial of, because this is a digital exercise where you are going to be answering the questionnaires through the enumerators who are going to be asking them digitally, and they will be able to carry tablets around. And for you to also identify them, they are going to be uniforms. They are also going to be identity cards for this, for maybe the tablets, so that also we are not taken advantage of by quacks, or maybe people who are also of ill intentions there, who may want to also come and use the information for other things. But for now, really, that is one reason I want to remind you, and I also want to ask you to be part of the exercise. For now, let's first have a short commercial breather, the first one for this hour, as we also continue with the show later on.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest party is back. Welcome to the World of Afro Branch, where we celebrate African music and culture, and the party never stops. Join us on the 2nd of June 2024 as we return to Coco Palm, Arua. Come, let's dance the night away with your crew as we're bringing you to the best energy like never before. Secure your tickets now via smarttickets.com for your online tickets and all our ticket sales points. We are proudly sponsored by Mo Radio, Mongo Feni Records, Esomat Hypermarket, Prime Gadgets, Motoloud, and West Nile TV. All this is brought to you by Ovations Events.
The search for Miss Uganda 2024 is on. Get ready to be wowed by the girls' intelligence, charisma, and big dreams. Who will be the next Miss Uganda? Find out starting 10th May every Friday to Sunday at 8 p.m. on Makulachika, exclusively on Star Times. For more details on how to join the competition, visit www.missuganda.co.ug or visit Star Times branches. The show is sponsored by VNA, LMZ, Comform, Nanjing Hotel, Kira Motors, Sheraton, Uganda Airlines, and lead sponsors Grace Textiles and U-Home. Miss Uganda 2024, true Ugandan beauty.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from that short commercial break. We are back also to continue with the show and letting you know what is happening in the world of papers and also really across the world in there. And that is the reason as to why you must always be part of the show. And this is the Kokoliriko live on West Nile Television channel 477 on Star Times and across all our social media platforms in there. And maybe somebody could be asking, which social media platforms am I talking about? I'm talking about Facebook. We at West Nile Television, and then at YouTube also we are also there as well on West Nile Television, and not forgetting X also really on West Nile Television, where you can have access to us each and every time where you feel you need to also watch us in there. And this is also the show that really also really will keep you informed and first of all updated of what is happening. And remember, we did talk about the national census exercise before we did go for the break, where I did ask each and everybody to also be part of. And I really want to take this honor now to remind and question what we call the prophets of doom, as the mayor Arosti always calls them. These are the prophets of doom who may also want to sabotage the project, the process in there. And we are saying the law may catch up with you if at all all you are going to be rallying your people also behind there, because yesterday we did receive information that some LCs were actually threatening to boycott the exercise, but now we want to remind them to solely be part of the exercise, and we want to say each and everybody must be engaged in that process, whether you are involved indirectly or directly. We must also ensure that the success of the census exercise is what we need to attain, because we do not want to see people who may also at the end of the day want to sabotage the project. And really this is something which I feel is in good faith, and at the end of the day, if at all we continue to solely there maybe also despise it, our subjects are going to be also really shunning it at the same time. And that is why I want to say people need to also avoid issues of wanting to shun the exercise, which is solely for their own interest, and they really feel that is very, very much bad. As we start off the second hour, now the second part of the first hour, I want us to look at maybe how some of the stories are trending, and looking at the daily monitors. Uganda considers that's the Iranian tech, that's for social media content. That's solely something that we are seeing here, because today so many issues going to be lingered around social media, where issues about disinformation, issues about misinformation, issues of also really people taking advantage of also really insulting, abusive language. Really, these are things that really need to be filtered, and that is also really where the government of Uganda is considering an Iranian technology that's for social media content filtering, because this definitely needs to be filtered, because sometimes we have seen people also really misinforming others on social media, and that is quite unfortunate. And I want to say at the end of the day, if these are things that we do not talk about, then definitely we may see the issues that I didn't mention to you earlier on going on, and also really where people may also really do what we call misinformation, where we have seen people being announced dead, where we have seen people being insulted, yet these are things that really which are said to be against the law. And the Ugandan government is now exploring technology that is from Iran to regulate, that is also really the social media and filter social media content that is also really on various platforms in there, according to Minister of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Bariomusi, who is also an MP. The goal is not to shun down social media, but also to promote that is also really responsible content usage in there, because social media really is also falls under what we call access to information, and also really right to information there. But sometimes where we also really infringe on others' rights through misusing social media, then it becomes quite unfortunate, and that is why regulations are always very, very much welcomed in there. And I really feel at the end of the day, if at all these regulations are conducted, and then so many people could also really be also accumulated there, and issues about where people are taken to court, because recently we did see somebody who is a TikToker who also did abuse the president, and he also went on to abuse, that is the Kabaka of Uganda Kingdom there, and recently that is when he got arrested, and of recent we also saw him also be released on bond there. But really, how can you get arrested just for misusing social media? Really, don't you think that what you are doing is criminal? And I really want to say harsh punishments for such people is really the way to go, because you are also infringing on the rights of others. You do not have any right to abuse somebody, but really, if you are told you think that social media, because you need followers and you need recognition, and you are doing those bad things, and then it becomes quite unfortunate. And the minister expressed concern about also the negative also impact of unfiltered social media content, also really particularly on children, and he highlighted also really issues like fake news, pornography, and also abusive language in there on social media, which I really feel need to be regulated, because if at all we are not regulating them, we have a whole law in place, that is the Computer Misuse Act, but really nothing much is done. We have seen people continue with their issues of also really and misusing social media, where we also see this law very, very much implemented once also they get into insult other people. And then if they're not insulting, what about the issue of pornography, where we have seen also people misusing social media for that? How can we control that? Then definitely I really believe there's need for this Iran technology that needs to be done, because if at all we want to see a society that is well transformed, and then definitely regulations is always the way to go, because I really feel regulations are not meant in bad faith, but rather also really that is in good faith, such that also really each and everybody is also not left out in there. And I really want to call upon each and everybody now to always ensure that they use the social media rightly, because at the end of the day, if at all they are misusing social media, then it would also not be quite well for us to also as citizens, as people of this country, to live in the next generations, because we are seeing the number of people having access to smartphones increasing. What does that mean? It means that also with its own negative challenges, where also social media is also unfiltered, because at least we had also, the one beauty about the traditional media is also there's a control of what goes out. But really with social media, where there's nobody who is also to do the checks, everything that somebody feels that needs to go out goes out promptly and without wasting any time. Within seconds, somebody has already posted something that is that's going to be witnessed and viewed by several and millions of people, and this keeps on spreading like bushfire. And really, this is where I want to say calling for this regulation is quite well, and I really feel a government of Uganda needs to do it so, and that is already at the end of the day coupled with maybe the Computer Misuse Act and other laws that are in place. We may also really see people using the social media responsibly. And Mr. Iran's Deputy ICT Minister, that is already pledged this country support, that is for Uganda's also ICT development, and he welcomed partnership and expressed his appreciation that's for Uganda, that is towards focusing the sector in there. And these are things also already at the end of the day we also want to see not only be left on the paperwork. We want to see the implementation. We want to see the actual also the implementation of the whole projects, such that also already we are happy, because if at all nothing is done in terms of also implementation, then that may also be quite unfortunate. And this is not Uganda's first attempt. That is also already to social media regulation in 2018. A short-lived also already social media tax was implemented, requiring users also already to pay access to platforms such as already Facebook, which also already didn't go on well with some people. And in 2021 general elections, we also did see suspend Facebook, citing also already the removal of accounts suspended to be linked. That is in ruling government. Also already Facebook remains inaccessible without VPN in some places up to now. And what we are saying is, and let's ensure, maybe before we get also to have such a relationship by government, the responsible usage of social media is always the way to go, because if at all we are going to be misusing social media, we are going to be using it in a way that we think we need to use it, then definitely the government is going to come up and also regulate. And this is where we are going to be seeing issues like tax coming up, issues maybe about banning coming up, because some countries also we did see them also really banning use of social media. For instance, our neighbors in Kenya, we also did see them at one time also implementing that. And then at the end of the day, really, these are things that I feel if at all we are going to be using social media badly, then we should also continue expecting such repercussions, such regulations by the government of Uganda in there. And moving on from that, let's now see what some of the stories are saying here. Police officers also warned against hiring out guns. Remember, so many issues today continue to be also happening where we are witness people misusing the guns. And then definitely the Deputy Resident City Commissioner of Soroti City West Division there has cautioned police officers against hiring out guns also to criminals, because many of the times we have seen also people misusing the guns, but where they have access to these guns, these are the questions that also really keep on lingering in the minds of the public, because they ask themselves where these people have the access and how they get the guns. And also we have seen scenarios where we have been told sometimes these guns are also really given out, also really hired, that is to criminals by some of the office men in office, maybe in uniform, because these are the officers, for instance, in police, in UPDF, who are sometimes also really involved with the issues about hiring these guns in there. And Mr. James Chemtai said some errant also really officers are being investigated for conniving and also really being investigated for working together with also criminals in staging that is robberies in Soroti district in there. And that is also really something I must say could not only be happening in Soroti but elsewhere across the entire country in there. And these are issues where we have witnessed people misusing the guns, but how the criminals get access to these guns is definitely something that we do not know. But really we want to say the issues of people misusing the guns is something that we need to talk about. We need to talk about, because issues of gun misuse continues to happen in the country, where amidst the several challenges we are seeing people also still being killed using the guns, and then investigations continue to matter, and really sometimes which take long overdue. And I really want to implore that if at all these investigations are to be done in terms of who exactly has hired out this gun, then let these photos be brought to book so that also they can be charged. If it has murder, then let them also be sentenced to death, because somebody has lost his life in the hands as an action maybe of them hiring out the guns, then they must also be maybe sentenced to death. That would also maybe serve as a warning to those who would also wish to be engaged in similar activities there. And Mr. Chemutai was also addressing the police officers at Nakatunya police station, Soroti also district, Soroti City. They are following two recent armed robberies, that is in Oderai and Nakutanya, both in Soroti City West in there. And these are things also we want to remind you of, as the Deputy Resident City Commissioner Soroti West has cautioned the police officers also against gun misuse there. Because let's also really talk about this, because if we don't talk about it, then definitely who is going to be talking about that? Because many of the times, if people are misusing the guns, really we also really see that also in terms of also these guns also really be there, because we want to see these guns mostly be used at the border points, so that's already we also protect ourselves. That is from external invasion, and that's also where sometimes we also want to see the UPDF officers serving at, because really these issues of gun misuse on the citizens, really sometimes we ask ourselves how the guns get into the society. These are things also we want to say, and because of our porous border police, we have been told very much that also the guns, also the gunmen sneak with the guns also through the porous border police, and that is already how at the end of the day they get to also take advantage of the people, more so the businessmen, and these are also really where they target the people who are mostly in business. And really want to say, for them to avoid this, there's only one way to go, which is also really embracing what we call that is money that must be non-cash, the cashless economy. This is also really something which the people must embrace. First of all, maybe transferring money through funds, transferring money the banks. That will also be well and good for them. And for those who may also want to move with huge chunks of money, then definitely hiring out the security agencies is the way to go. But really, where we are also seeing the security agencies becoming aids to criminals, that is already where it becomes quite unfortunate, because there's nobody you're going to be rushing to, and that's also only for help there. And the other, this was already said, he received complaints that is from various locals who accused the police of being masterminds, that and asked the police officers also to work towards restoring a good reputation, because the members of the community are now having that negative repercussions and reputation about the existence of these police officers who are now taking advantage of them. And the district of Mr. Chemtai vowed to deal with the culprits who are also going to be brought to book. And the district police commander, that's of Soroti West Division, Mr. Rashid Biansi, tasked police officers to be committed in their role. That's also keeping law and order, because that is what we entirely expect them to also be doing. And moving on from that now, let's also see some of the stories here. And looking at the Daily Monitor, Abdallah Jaden, former Idi Amin aide, has also passed on yesterday at the age of 87 years. And this is something also we want to also keep you reminded of, as Abdallah Jaden, a former that's of roving ambassador who served under the regime that's of Idi Amin Dada, passed away on Wednesday at his residence that is in Bombo, Luero district, at the age of 87 in there. And this is something already I want to remind you of. Jaden's family informed the journalists that on Thursday he succumbed sorely to multiple health complications, and he had been battling for quite a long period of time. That is also the way back 2023 in there. And Ashraf Jaden, one of his children also who cared for him during his illness, confirmed the news and said his father was confirmed dead in Bombo in there. Because if you see what happened, the most maybe where at these aides of Amin we are residing, most of them were actually residing in Bombo, which is also really an area and community that is also mostly occupied by the Nubians. And Amin also had that connection, that's the Nubian community, and he worked very much closely with them. And that is why we also witnessed so many generals and so many dignitaries also really during his regime emerging from there. And that's something at the end of the day we also really want to also see to that also these people also really go and rest in peace, because really they also did their part also in serving the nation, and also really maybe as also really doing so many things here and there. And Jaden served in various roles, that's security roles, before and after Uganda's independence. He played a key role in securing Idi Amin's presidency, that's 1971, as detailed also in the 2023 interview also in there. And these are things also we also want to keep you reminded of. And Jaden narrowly also escaped death, that's 1979, during the overthrow of Idi Amin's regime, and he was also chained that to the back of the truck and dragged for a kilometer, also drowned by the time the driver stopped. Jaden was severely injured in there. These are things already we also did see him suffering for, because Jaden also spent 6 years at Luzira without facing any charges, and he was among the groups of prisoners released, that is in 1985, and assisted in returning to their homes in there. And these are things we also want to talk about, because somebody may be asking himself, whom is Jaden, and when maybe under what regime did he serve? And shortly after Amin took over power, Jaden, a close confidant, that's of the former president, and possibly one of his most educated Nubians in his inner circle, also accompanied the president on a shopping trip, that's London. The mission also really find issues that fits Amin's large feet in there. These are things we want to keep reminded of, because really these also really had their own kind of lifestyle. Really, these are the things that at the end of the day we want to also really keep you reminded of. And in 1971, while Idi Amin was in Singapore, Jaden and other officers that's from specific tribes were targeted for execution in there. And these are things that must also be reminded of, because they survived death for quite a long period of time. And Jaden lived a quiet life, and after his service and supported government programs, he received also an official discharge from Uganda Army, which is also now the UPDF, but never also rejoined due to past experiences. And that's something at the end of the day we must also really keep you reminded of. And now looking at the other stories, Museveni meets US ambassador over regional security. That is already another story that we are seeing on the past this morning, as President Museveni on Thursday met with the United States of America, also the ambassador in there, that is to Uganda, William also W. Pop at State House in Tebe, to discuss also already about that is about various also crucial matters, including that is also the forthcoming population census, the regional peace, and also really stability and socio-economic transformation in there. And these are things already we did see at the head of state also discussing with the U.S. ambassador to Uganda there, while underscoring the significance of population census. The two leaders reportedly emphasized that is the importance of conducting a comprehensive and inclusive also count that will provide crucial data for the government also to use in decision making and effective policy making in there. And these are things I want to implore each and everybody, because we are going to be doing this right from today until the last day, and that is only where we are going to be keeping you reminded of the forthcoming national population census exercise, where I want to solely rally each and everybody now to be behind that. And during the meeting attended by also the Uganda's Minister for Foreign Affairs, General Jenyo Dongo in there, the Minister for Defense and Veteran Affairs, Jacob both also Permanent Secretary and Defense of Minister also we also did see Miss Rosette Biangoma, and Deputy Chief of Defense Forces, Lieutenant General Samuel Okiding. Mr. Museveni and Pop reportedly explored avenues that is also for socio-economic development, focusing on strategies also to enhance Uganda's growth and prosperity, also really, as well as improving the long-standing relationship between the two countries also really in there. And these are things already at the end of the day we also want to talk about, because if we not talk about this, then definitely we may not also see why we need that kind of relationship. And these are things also at the end of the day that could also be helpful to the economy and to the country at large. And I really want to ask your views of what you think government of Uganda needs also to sit down and discuss with the U.S. ambassadors. What are some of the opportunities that you feel that we all have as a country, if at all we also had those diplomatic ties, and we had also that good talk with the country in there, that would also be quite well and for us. And really we want to see how best we also can talk about that at the end of the day, to me would be quite well and good. And really as we continue with the show, now let's see other stories here. Businessman remanded for allegedly forging documents to obtain loan is also really another story that we are seeing on the past this morning, where a Kampala businessman identified as Christopher Chibuka, who is 47 years, has been charged in Buganda Road Court with obtaining that is shillings 200 million also loan that is from Diamond Trust Bank through forged documents in there. And these are things already, how did the bank also keep assessing and identifying that these are forged documents? These are the questions also we must also investigate and ask ourselves if at all we are going to be talking about such matters. Chibuka denied the 5 charges against him, including forgery, uttering false documents, and obtaining credit by also the false pretense in there. And these are things already we also want to ask the bank if at all they did not also look into that. And then how did the man also get to accept the loans? These are things already that would help paint for us an image of exactly that what we're talking about. According to prosecution led by Mr. Ivan Chaze, Chibuka, along with an accomplice still at large, allegedly forged a land title also really and a marriage certificate between February and April 2023, where also really they used the documents to obtain money there. The land title probably also signed by the Kampala Capital City Authority. Register officials also titles also claimed ownership of the block that is 246 plot 823, that's in Chetabia, that is in Chetabia, that is in Chedono in there. The marriage certificate is supposedly signed by Registrar of Church of Marriages, that's at Namirembe Diocese Chapter of Uganda. First they declared also Chibuka and the woman named as Namono Phyllis as legally married in there. These are things already we did see him also be also that he was charged for as the investigations into the matter continue. And court documents allege that Chibuka and his accomplice opposing Namono applied that's for shillings 500 million, a loan that's from Diamond Trust Bank. As security also they opened a joint account and presented forged land titles, and this is also to help them obtain the money in there. This is also where I want to implore and advise the loan officers to also not be very much vigilant, to also not rush. Let them always be vigilant, because as they are rushing, because most of them always earn commissions, that is why at the end of the day such issues may arise. We want to say let them also carry out thorough investigations before issuing out this money, because to issue out this money, then recovering it also may fall on their shoulders. And that is why we are saying those who are working as loan officers, they must always ensure that they are not going to be giving this money to maybe errant officers. They are not going to be rushing with the money also to issue it out there. That to me would be quite well, because at the end of the day we want to see people also be protected in their court documents. Allege that Chibuka also signed those documents in there, and the alleged scheme unraveled when Chibuka and his accomplice failed to make loan prepayments. Chibuka was arrested and reportedly confessed that to receiving and sharing the shillings 200 million with Namono in there, because really 200 million is really quite a huge amount of money, and really people are taking advantage of it just like that. And then definitely the bank also has the mandate of maybe taking them to court. But are we going to be obtaining the money from them? That is also another question that we must also be asking ourselves. Or maybe the bank is going to be at loss. These are things also we must also be thinking about this morning, as Magistrate Ronald Chaze also Kaize remanded Chibuka until May 2028 pending the trial in there. And these are things already at the end of the day we need to talk about, because if at all we do not talk about, then definitely we may see so many people also fraudulent taking advantage of others, or maybe these institutions that are in place, such that also at the end of the day we may also not be able to witness these facilities growing in there. Let's now look at some of the stories of vocational graduates urged to serve with humanity. That's also embraced innovation. Is also another story that we are seeing on the past this morning. The third deputy prime minister, that's Ms. Rukia Nakadama, challenged graduates across Uganda to become both job seekers and also job creators and public seekers who also prioritize empathy in there. And this is also something at the end of the day we also did see this called upon to do so. While delivering the keynote address, that's at the fourth graduation ceremony, that is Al Mustafa Islamic College, that's AIC in Chengara district, also Wakiso district, also Chengara town in Wakiso district yesterday. Also really Ms. Nakadama emphasized the importance of humanity in the workplace, also really in there, as Ms. Nakadama highlighted the importance of healthcare and also really self-care first of all, and national pride, also really where he encouraged the people also to leverage their youth and energy also in there, because if at all we are not talking about where people do not also really have, that is what we call humanity, then definitely they are going to be doing work just because they want to be paid, which would also not be quite well. This was also really at a ceremony where a total of that is 200 graduates also received diplomas in 20 disciplines at the ceremony, themed under employability among the youth through vocational skilling in there. Because I really feel sometimes these vocational skills are very good, because if you see what the government of Uganda today is undertaking, we have the skilling centers that are being developed today, where we have also seen the people also taking advantage of, where we also want to see more numbers enrolling, because if you see what is happening at the skilling centers today, you will be able to realize that so many people are not also really maybe incorporated in that. And Dr. Ashula Deglani, the principal of Al Mustafa Islamic College, noted that this year's ceremony also is not just a testament that's to the hard work and dedication of the graduates, but also a reflection of the college's commitment in there, because we want to see other days these schools releasing these graduates who are not only having the papers, but we want to see the skills out of these students who are also really moving out of schools, because so many schools have emerged today, but sometimes also really they are after the money. And that is only where National Curriculum Development Center and Government of Uganda through Ministry of Education also must ensure that these schools that are emerging are actually doing what it takes also to also provide the citizens with the necessary skills. That is mostly for the youth who are also still complaining that's of unemployment, where I really feel if at all they incorporate that would be quite well and good for them. And then the Renan Mr. Ambassador to Uganda, Mr. Majid Safa, noted at this time to recognize the students who have also really shown imperialism and that justice cannot prevail in a civilized society, or he further encouraged the graduates to promote peaceful coexistence and advocate for that is for the oppressed in there. And Dr. John Mutakenga Salongo, the Assistant Commissioner that is also at the Ministry of Education and Sports, emphasized the value of skilling that in Uganda is also really towards agriculture economy in there, because at the end of the day we want to see all these people also really very, very much incorporated and involved in these government programs, and we want to see all of them actually benefiting from what we are talking about, because if at all anybody is going to be left out, because I don't feel skilling is the way to go, because recently we did see operations against the criminals, that is by the members of the community. And yesterday, after quite a long period of time, we did see them also returning on the streets, and the noise is back where the mob is actually on the hand. That's for the criminals. I really feel maybe it is because these criminals have returned back to what they used to do. And the community yesterday, I must remind you that also we did see them also returning back, that is towards these operations, and that is also in line with the security agencies, because we have seen them working together with the security agencies. For instance, the Uganda police, where we did see actually these people also trailing the criminals, and I really feel that's already in terms of bringing sanity. And I feel at the end of the day that will be quite well and good, because also the issues of what providing security is not only in the hands of security agencies alone, but rather we also have a right to play, and that is already maybe what the people of Central Division are doing to see that already issues of phone grabbing, issues of bag grabbing is already addressed, and that is what does bring us to the end of that discussion for the first hour, and we are going to be bouncing back in the second hour. My name is FARISH Majid, and this is still a Kokoliriko live show on West Nile Television channel 477. That is on Star Times and also really on Zuku and other social media platforms where you can also really watch us lively each and every mornings right from 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock. And at 9 o'clock, that is when we have the news bulletin in Lubarati. That is Mukulia Lawrence. And after that, other programs are also really will be coming through today. And today, remember, we shall also be having the Lubara Mabi that will also be coming later on. But for now, let's first have a short commercial breather as we bounce back in our second hour. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
The National Population and Housing Census 2024 is here. Uganda is to conduct the Census 2024 this May to update our population status that will support government to plan for every citizen. The numeration team is in the field to respond to all the necessary interests by you and me as they register all of us. Note that the census night is 9th May 2024. Let us all be part of this exercise by working with the numerators, provide correct data and information. This exercise is to assist the government in planning government resources properly, provide efficient service delivery, and the formulation of national policies. The numeration will start on the 10th to 19th, 2024, and the counting will be done at our homes or places of residence. The Census 2024, it matters to be counted. This message is brought to you by Dr. Chris Mukiza, the Executive Director, Uganda Bureau of Statistics, and the Government of Uganda.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
The search for Miss Uganda 2024 is on. Get ready to be wowed by the girls' intelligence, charisma, and big dreams. Who will be the next Miss Uganda? Find out starting 10th May every Friday to Sunday at 8 p.m. on Makulachika, exclusively on Star Times. For more details on how to join the competition, visit www.missuganda.co.ug or visit Star Times branches. The show is sponsored by VNA, LMZ, Comform, Nanjing Hotel, Kira Motors, Sheraton, Uganda Airlines, and lead sponsors Grace Textiles and U-Home. Miss Uganda 2024, true Ugandan beauty.
The National Population and Housing Census 2024 is here. Uganda is to conduct the Census 2024 this May to update our population status that will support government to plan for every citizen. The numeration team is in the field to respond to all the necessary interests by you and me as they register all of us. Note that the census night is 9th May 2024. Let us all be part of this exercise by working with the numerators, provide correct data and information. This exercise is to assist the government in planning government resources properly, provide efficient service delivery, and the formulation of national policies. The numeration will start on the 10th to 19th, 2024, and the counting will be done at our homes or places of residence. The Census 2024, it matters to be counted. This message is brought to you by Dr. Chris Mukiza, the Executive Director, Uganda Bureau of Statistics, and the Government of Uganda.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest party is back. Welcome to the world of Afro Branch, where we celebrate African music and culture, and the party never stops. Join us on the 2nd of June 2024 as we return to Coco Palm, Arua. Come, let's dance the night away with your crew as we're bringing you to the best energy like never before. Secure your tickets now via smarttickets.com for your online tickets and all our ticket sales points. We are proudly sponsored by Mo Radio, Mongo Feni Records, Esamat Hypermarket, Prime Gadgets, Motoloud, and West Now TV. All this is brought to you by Ovations Events.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. We already continuing with the hour. That is also where we are 6 minutes after our second hour, which is 8 o'clock. And remember, our final destination remains 9 o'clock. And that is also really where the news bulletin in Liberty will be coming through. But for now, allow me also to continue with the show. And from wherever you're watching us from, it could be your very first time. We say you are most welcome aboard. This is the Kokoliriko live on Western Television channel 477 across also our social media platforms. We are live in there. And that is also a reason as to why you need not to be worried of what is happening in and across the world in there. And we want to also say you must also be part of the show. That also really keeps reminded and also really updated of what is happening, and that would also be quite well and good. And really, as we continue with the show, if I can briefly maybe remind you of what is happening in there. So remember, we did talk about so many issues in the first hour, but as we get to continue with the show, so many issues continue to happen, and really somebody out there could be interested in what is happening. But as we get to the climax, and I really want to say so many issues continue to happen, and really this is right from the region and at the national level at large. And really that is also really why it is very, very much important, because we do not only limit our discussions to what is happening in Western sub-region, but rather we cut across, that is the entire world. And that is also really why we are why we're here. And remember, each and every day, sometimes what we do is we bring guests also in different fields who also come and talk to you as the viewer about several government initiatives, and also really maybe different programs for you to make an understanding, and also such that also really you are not left behind. And now, as we get to also have what is happening in the second hour, remember so many issues also really continue to happen. And remember, this week we also did talk to you about the Rwenzururu Kingdom, also really where we also really want to talk about now the kingdom, also really as a former Rwenzururu Royal Guards plead for support in there. This is something that we are seeing on the part this morning. Former Royal Guards of the Singapore Rwenzururu, also in Kasai district, are seeking government assistance after their king, also the Musinga Charles Wesley Mumbere, was also really released in there. And the guards also really who were arrested alongside Omusinga, and were in 2016 after they were also really involved in a clash with the government security agencies, that also really raised the Buhikira Royal Palace in Kasai Town, requesting now the medical for medical and also financial and psychosocial support. That is already citing health also really issues since their release from prison has also really lasted a year now. And this is something at the end of the day we want to see also really we talk about, because we do not want to see people clashing with maybe the government agencies, because really what happened in there, we did witness and now people losing their lives, which was really not quite well. We also saw property being destroyed, and then we also many people also being arrested in there, and after serving in prison, now also really we are seeing them now asking for government support. And really I want to also encourage the government to rush out to this people's rescue, so that so we not have many people who may also be engaged in such activities. And the guards who were arrested alongside the Musinga in 2016 after they were involved in a clash with the government securities raised the Buhikira. This is something as after we did see them also being released, and they said also they have continued to struggle with the diseases, and also while others face challenges accessing government aid due to also really lost documents such as their national identity cards, which they did also also really obtained in there, because others lost their IDs. And really, this is something also we want to say. We now also want to also have these people also accessing their IDs, because really leaving them out is also really a violation of their rights, because they have also really the right to accessing the national IDs. And Mr. Edwin Mumbere, the chairperson of former Rwenzururu Kingdom Royal Guards, and said they critically need psychosocial support and also really medical support for many of their colleagues fighting to regain their health in there, because many of them were actually beaten. Others were also really went through a lot of trauma, and this is also really where now they're asking government also to come to their rescue. And I really feel at the end of the day that would be quite well and good, as Mr. Besweri Malisaba, the former also really Kingdom Deputy Prime Minister of Security, said many of the royal guards also really lost their sources of livelihood when they were also taken in prison in there. And this is something at the end of the day we also want to keep you in mind of. And he appealed to the Musinga to engage the government so that also really they can benefit from government programs, especially the PDM, which is the parish development model, which is now running today also really, as government is striving to also see that people also move out of poverty, because poverty remains a great concern. And that's why government of Uganda is coming up with several of these government initiatives, such as the parish development model and Myoga and the rest, also to see that also move out of poverty, and so that also nobody is left behind in terms of poverty in there. And he appealed to the Musinga now to engage the government also through also really, so that also they can benefit through the several government programs, as he also related the need for children to be supported with also educational scholarships in there. Dropping the charges also really in June last year, the Director of Public Prosecution dropped all the charges also against Musinga Mumbere and also the co-accused and who was on these subjects. But really, it's up to date. We also seeing that they are also they need also to be rehabilitated. And November last year, the coordinator of Amnesty Commission, that's already in the Western region, Mr. Ronald Sekatawa, in an interview also already with this with journalists, said there is need to rehabilitate former Rwenzori Kingdom Royal Guards, because they have been also living in terrible conditions since they returned to Kasese. And this is something also at the end of the day we also want to see now government also doing that. He said despite being exonerated of crimes, many are facing also really challenges, in particular in accessing the PDM, and he stressed also the need for affirmative action and special consideration also to enable them benefit from such poverty elevation drives in there, because these government programs aim also and they cut across each and everybody, and they did not leave anybody out, maybe in terms of also where they come from, in terms of color. There's no discrimination, and these are government programs that are meant for each and every citizen, and that is already why these people also need now to benefit from that. And on Monday, Musinga held the first meeting with his royal guards since his return about 7 months ago. That is at Kasese Better Living Center in Kasese Town, and this is something also we did see where during the meeting Musinga said he appreciated the challenges that people also went through 7 years as he was away, and he also knew that also they disorganized most of them. And he said, I've listened also to all your problems, but unfortunately our pockets are still limited. However, you are still in my heart, and my office will surely remain open to you. And that's also the message that the Musinga did give out to his people. And he cautioned them against violence, as they should embark on a journey of reintegration, that is into a community in there. And really, this is something at the end of the day we are saying is quite well and good to continue witnessing, and we want to see more of these drives going on, because at the end of the day we also want to see everybody that is engaged in there. King Mumbere added that the former royal guards remain that is a target for persons who may also want to cause mayhem within the community in there. And he said they have suffered the brunt of armed rebel groups, including that is the National Army for Liberation of Uganda, that is abbreviated as NALU, and also the Allied Democratic Forces, that is the ADF, which is currently in Kasese, also affecting Kasese in there, and who continue to base that is in the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo in the eastern parts in there. And really, this is something also where we have seen this people suffering from, because we have seen ADF also very, very much terrorizing the people. And the Musinga also commiserated with the families also who lost their loved ones already during also that trial moments in there. And these are things also we want to say that's why we must also cherish peace, and we must also avoid certain of these activities, so that also nobody will be able to lose their lives or property. That is to such insurgencies which are really avoidable, and that's something at the end of the day which would also be quite well and good. And now moving on from that, let's now see other stories this time round in politics, where 7 new political parties in the offing ahead of 2026 elections. And this is also something I must also remind you of, because as we are heading 2026, So many of the leaders are now showing interest, and now we are seeing many of them actually declaring their intentions, that is to aspire in the forthcoming general elections. That's also right from the councillors, also up to the president, that this is something where we are seeing now people traversing the country for, and they also really want to see that also they become the next leaders. But really, how prepared are we, given the fact that the Electoral Commission hasn't issued, that is the electoral reforms, maybe the guidelines, people to also continue also engaging in politics. But now we are seeing politics very, very much actively manifested. And who exactly is to blame? These are the questions only that we must also ask ourselves. As 7 groups have applied, that's for situation, that's the political parties and the Independent Electoral Commission ahead of the 2026 general elections in there. And these are things also I must remind you of, and these include the National Foundation Party, the National Revival Coalition, and the National Agrarian Party, People Power Front, and also Sign Uganda, Uganda Prosperity Party, and National Economic and Redemption Party in there. These are some of the political parties that are also seeking to be registered in there. And the names of each of these political parties, slogans and symbols were reserved before the promoters also were tasked to promote, also collect signatures around also the country and return to the list also to the IEC before verification in there. And this is something I also want to remind you of, that at the end of the day we may also see it also be very, very much in there. Mr. Julius Mchunguzi, the spokesperson of IEC, said they receive applications from 7 parties, reserved their names and slogans and names and symbols, and they were given that also go ahead to collect signatures as law requires them to do so. And these are things already at the end of the day, because so many people were also expecting some of the parties that they feel are also going to be recognized, but none of them has appeared here. And then what does that mean? Are we not going to be seeing also maybe fights in some of the political parties? Definitely, I do not know. But we are following up on, and we are keenly following up on the issue on maybe some of the political parties that may emerge, that is in the final also maybe ours, because we may also see political parties emerge, that is in 2025 or 2026. Really, I want to remind you of that we are also going to follow, because it's a constitutional mandate of people to also have themselves associated with any other political party, because if you want to be maybe a part of any other political parties, you are not limited, you are not restricted. It is your constitutional mandate. You can also be part of anywhere, and that is why I want to say people must take advantage of the different political parties that are really in place, and those who are emerging, and they also said that also nobody is left behind. Maybe I'd also blame that I do not have a political party. That's why I not vote, because we want to see you voting. And the 7 parties are fully registered, and to bring the number of political parties in Uganda to 33 also in there. Mr. John Katumba, the former independent candidate, also the presidential candidate, reserved the name of his party, which was also the National Revival Coalition in there. On September 2023, which was on 27th, he was also expected to return to the list of that's of also signatures in the 4 months also to the IEC in there. Mr. Katumba said his supporters are processing the establishment, that is also a political party, but he declined to divulge details about it also for now. And these are things solely I must keep you reminded of. And he said the delay in registering his party was due to errors made by the IEC while verifying signatures of the party's also supporters. And one of the leaders of People Power Front Party, whose also names were reserved in December last year, said yesterday that they are still in the process of collecting, that is also signatures, and using the mobile phone of Mr. Akels, also Spartan Mukatanganyi, the promoter of the People Power Front Party. The leader also really promised to get back for us to offer a party position. He didn't also really mention in there. And really, as we continue to follow up on these political parties, really, how exactly are we going to be seeing maybe the elections in 2026? These are things that really we need to understand. And the promoter of Uganda's Prosperity Party, Ms. Judith Grace Amoit, declined also to comment on the progress that is the party is making to return also really the signatures of its supporters in there, because we also yet are following up on that matter, as Mr. Abdallah also Semindi, the promoter of the National Economic and Redemption Party, said they are not yet ready with the process that the IEC told them to undertake. And these are something also really I want to remind you of. News of the 7 political parties in the offing also really coincides with the media reports that four-time former presidential candidate, that is Dr. Kiza Besigye, being fronted as the leader of the new political party, that's the formation of supporters of Forum for Democratic Change, is already undertaken. However, by press time last evening, it was not clear whether the proposed formation is among the 7 that have been applied for registration ahead of the General 2026 elections in there. And this is something also I want to remind you of, because at the end of the day, we want to see each and everybody be involved in the different political parties, as we also want to see, as we continue with the show, and still related with the opposition, the former opposition leader, that's Kano Kiza Besigye, who has blamed government for over the rampant land grabbing, that's in the Bunyoro sub-region. And former Forum for Democratic Change Party President, Kano retired also Kiza Besigye, has castigated the government of Uganda over its alleged also really failure to address the problem of land grabbing in the Bunyoro sub-region in there. And while addressing the rally at Hoima Bomber Grounds also on Monday, Dr. Besigye observed that ever since oil was discovered in the Albertine region, and the region has registered massive land grabbing, also land evictions, leaving many families homeless in there. And Dr. Besigye, who was also in the area to drive and popularize the Power 10 faction, that is of also FDC Katonga in there, noted that cases of land grabbing are on the rise, also has not also provided permanent solution. Also, Gas government has not provided permanent solutions to these concerns, which also really was not also well with him. And he further also said even the oil roads constructed in the Bunyoro sub-region might not benefit the locals, some of whom have been also rendered jobless in there. And these are things also really we did see happening because so many issues cannot be also be talked about. And the four-time presidential candidate also expressed concern over what we call the delay by the government to establish also the public university in Bunyoro sub-region in there. And really these are things so we did see the former opposition leader also talking about, because as we are looking forward to 2026, Rumo also has it that he will be bouncing back, and this is only to aspire in the elections in there. But we are following up on that, and we want to see maybe if they are going to be forming up a new political party, or they are going to be also siding with one of the existing political parties as their demands to the Naja-Nankuru bloc in there. But really we are yet following up on that, because it is clear that the Naja-Nankuru bloc and the Katango faction have failed to work together. But really we shall also keep informed of what exactly that could be transferring there. He said most of the regions in the country have, that is, public universities, and public has not also been considered. That is by the demands also of the different stakeholders. And Ms. Nancy Nyakato, the Hoima City 1 MP, said the Bunyoro are facing several challenges such as high taxes and also rampant land grabbing in there. And Ambassador Waswa Birigwa, the national chairperson of FDC Katonga faction, asked Ugandans also to support their mission as they are yet following up on that. And Ms. Jennifer Karunji, the Hoima FDC chairperson, lamented that many of the challenges affecting the people of Hoima, that is including what she called that is exorbitant taxes. And Ms. Salamu Sumba, the FDC national vice chairperson for Eastern region, urged the youths also to work hard so as to get out of poverty. And these are things already we did see happening right in there. And however, Mr. Badru Mugabi, the Hoima resident city commissioner, dismissed claims of rampant land grabbing in the area, and also said he is also one of the evicted, and he said no one has been evicted from his or her land without also following the law in there. And these are things already we did see happening in there. And as the city is going to develop, we are now seeing also them sometimes grappling with the challenges and looking at the challenges that cities are also encountering, as the new cities lack sustainable plan for use-made infrastructure. And remember, the use-made projects have also really been also undertaken in several of these governments and local governments. And if you really see in Arua City, also one of the issues that you cannot limit also mentioning about the use-made projects is the road projects also that we are seeing as the new cities lack sustainability plan. That's for use-made infrastructure. We are how sustainable this infrastructure? These are the questions sorry that somebody could be asking ourselves, because the solar lights, sometimes we are also seeing them breaking down, and looking at the roads in terms of also maybe challenges, potholes. If they develop potholes, who exactly is going to be renovating that? These are the things that also we are now asking ourselves as the infrastructure setup that is in the regional cities and municipalities under the Uganda Support to Municipal Infrastructure Development, abbreviated as the USMID program, is on the verge of collapse after leaders also failed to develop sustainable plans for the project. And also the journalists have established that, and that is also something we did see happening. And in Masaka municipality, the journalists have established that in Masaka City, many solar lamps installed in 2015 and 2016 on the roads such as Yellow Knife Road, Edward Avenue, and also the Jatan Street are no longer functional, while others have been vandalized. And if you really see the same concern in Arua City, looking at the solar lights that we established, that's mostly on Adroa Road and also the other areas. For instance, also the road along Prison, most of them are not functioning. If you move at night, you'll be able to walk with side with me. Maybe some of the solar lights are blown out, and that's really something at the end of the day where we are seeing the USMID programs failing, because USMID also really is something that we did see very, very much focusing on the infrastructure development, where we are seeing so many roads are being developed, but up to date as nothing has been done. And then what exactly needs to be done? These are the questions already we need to ask ourselves, as manhole covers as also not spared. Some have been stolen, and many road pavements have also been destroyed. And this is also exactly what is happening in Arua City. And the Masaka City Clerk, Mr. Simon Ejua, said they have been grappling with the problem of limited funds, that is of repairing also the existing infrastructure under the USMID projects in there. And Mr. Jao also really I made the revelation while meeting, that's also the delegation from Kampala, a city which also was benchmarking a visit to Masaka City on Tuesday ahead of also the implementation of the $608 million US, which is about 2.2 trillion World Bank funded also the Greater Masaka metropolitan area that is under urban development program in there for improving that's also the livelihoods of the citizens in there. But we did see also that happening in there. And I really want to say we need to also ensure these projects are not also put to waste, because government of Uganda through the borrowing also sometimes is doing what it takes also to see that also there's infrastructure development, but where we are seeing people also really vandalizing the projects, it becomes quite unfortunate. I really also want to encourage also for strict laws and strict measures for such that also those who are involved in vandalizing, because if you will see the solar lights in Arua City, not only even those that we install under the USP projects are being vandalized. Look at what is happening around the areas of Mvara Cathedral. Most of the solar lights have been destroyed, moving also really in some of the areas, more so where people are not very many at night. We have seen people also really cutting down the solar lights, and recently we did see one in Arua City which has now been reinstated back, where we did witness one of the solar also lights being cut down. Really, this is quite unfortunate, and this is also really where I want to implore people to also really be very, very much vigilant, because we are talking about development, which we all want to see. We want to see a city that is very clean. We want to see a city that is very nice, but really where we are also seeing unscrupulous persons are taking advantage of this project, and then it becomes quite unfortunate. And the Minister for Kampala City and Metropolitan Areas, that is Minsa Kawanda, advised Masaka City leadership to set aside local revenue collected also really for markets, also really for repairing the infrastructure, also really the USP projects in there. And I really also want to call upon the people of Arua also to do the same. And Mr. Rajab Kito, the Ginger City Public Relations Officer, said the money has not been available for repairing infrastructure, but some funds accounting to also to 400 million in there have been put that aside in the next financial budget also for the repairs of also the USP projects in there, because USP has done its part. We also not going to be expecting now them to also really come back and support us already with the renovations. Really, this is quite unfortunate, because they have involved, they have also invested what it takes now. What remains for the local governments is to ensure that they also really do what it takes. So first of all, also really through establishing that is the various measures that is also to ensure that nobody is left behind, because if at all we are talking about the necessary infrastructure, we are all admiring. If I move at night, you will see that the area is lit up, and really that is quite good, and that is also really where we've seen people also really very, very much also really cutting down the solars. We have seen people also cutting down the batteries, and in Arua City also we have been told the batteries which are installed underground sometimes are dying because also really of the environment in there. And really that is something at the end of the day we want to see it be addressed, so that also really we avoid concerns and theft also issues in there. However, Mr. Kito said under the current road construction work standing at 98%, there is no money for street lighting because this component was also not included in the budget. And the Barara City Town Clerk, Ms. Asin Abirebe, said they have tried to use the local revenue to repair that is the damaged infrastructure, but the money is not enough, and that's something also we did see happening in there, as Arua City engineer Charles Omona said there's no sustainability plan, but they have managed to fix the repairs whenever funds are available. And this is something also we have witnessed in Arua City, as the Arua City Mayor, Mr. Sam Nyakua, urged the locals desist from the vandalizing the newly installed also street solar lights, also to have money for value for money. And this is something also we did see our own what the Sam Nyakua also already talking about in there. And recently, at least one of the solar street lights we have purchased, that is at shillings, that is also 678 million according to the depart. And I really feel also this, I think that's all we want to see also be put into right use there. We don't want people taking advantage of these projects, so that's all nobody is left behind in there. I really want to call upon now each and everybody to ensure that also these solar lights are installed and really they also already developed. And other than that, we may also see people also lagging behind. I really feel that wouldn't be quite well and good, because at the end of the day we want to see also these facilities be renovated, be developed, so that also nobody is left behind. And really that is where we may also see the value for money as earlier on required by the city mayor. And I really want to say these are things already at the end of the day where we also want to see the perpetrators, more so those also destroying these facilities be brought to book for, because if at all we are not bringing them to book, and then definitely we may also see a continuous vandalization of these initiatives and this infrastructure, which to me wouldn't be quite well and good, because at the end of the day we are talking about development, of which we want to see sustainable development. And also really one way we are going to be talking about the sustainable development is through infrastructure development. And really this is where we are seeing also really the roads are being developed. And then we also want to see these issues about also what we call also really the solar lights, which are there for security purposes entirely, also will be developed in there. And this is where I want to encourage each and everybody to always ensure that nobody is left behind. And really, this is also really for those who have the ill hearts. These are also people whom I want to call with bad hearts, who may also want to also cause harm and havoc to others. I really want to say that is quite bad, because if you are cutting that solar light for your ill intentions, then definitely you are going to be doing what it takes. And this is only where you are going to be aiding criminality, where it could be your next person who can also be harmed, because you are cutting down the solar lights, you are paving way for criminality. And then who exactly will be the next person, who will be exactly the next target? It could actually be you, who may also be affected in there just because of your bad heart. And then that is where I want to say it is very much bad for people to continue doing those things, because for the criminals who are cutting down, we also want to say you must stay warned. And that is also really where we hide in for another short commercial break. And this is still a Kokoliriko live show on West Nile Television, channel 477 Star Times, and across all our social media platforms. For instance, we are live on Facebook at West Nile Television, as we also really live on YouTube on West Nile TV, and not forgetting X, where we also really live, where you can watch us each and every day. That's across the world as West Nile Television, because we are digital, and also really we are online, where you need not be worried for somebody who is planning to move away, thinking that really where will I be watching West Nile Television from. We say we are live, and you can watch us anytime, anywhere, at any moment. And that is what brings us to another short commercial break, as we bounce back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
The search for Miss Uganda 2024 is on. Get ready to be wowed by the girls' intelligence, charisma, and big dreams. Who will be the next Miss Uganda? Find out starting 10th May every Friday to Sunday at 8 p.m. on Makulachika, exclusively on Star Times. For more details on how to join the competition, visit www.missuganda.co.ug or visit Star Times branches. The show is sponsored by VNA, LMZ, Comform, Nanjing Hotel, Kira Motors, Sheraton, Uganda Airlines, and lead sponsors Grace Textiles and U-Home. Miss Uganda 2024, true Ugandan beauty.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest party is back. Welcome to the world of Afro Branch, where we celebrate African music and culture, and the party never stops. Join us on the 2nd of June 2024 as we return to Coco Palm, Arua. Come, let's dance the night away with your crew, as we're bringing you to the best energy like never before. Secure your tickets now via smarttickets.com for your online tickets and all our ticket sales points. We are proudly sponsored by Mo Radio, Mongo Feni Records, Esamat Hypermarket, Prime Gadgets, Motoloud, and West Nile TV. All this is brought to you by Ovations Events.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from that short commercial break. We are back to continue with the show up the hour of 9 o'clock, and this is when we are going to be leaving the studios for the next spot to come. That is the news bulletin, that is with Bukulia Lawrence. But for now, let's now see on some of the stories that are happening right in West Nile sub-region as we get to summarize the discussions. At least 57 houses also have been burned as 7 suspects have been arrested. That is in Zombo district, and this is really quite unfortunate. And really, as we are seeing on the papers this morning, our security forces in Zombo district and Nebi district respectively have swung in actions. That is also as violence continues to escalate in Arisi village, and this is also where Oteko East village by the town council, by the sub-county in Zombo district, also after the murder of a 67-year-old woman identified as Beta Anawe, a resident of the same village. And this is also where we did also see members of the members of the community revenging for, and the deceased was allegedly in Arisi village on allegation of also land disputes also with our family members. And this is something also where we did see this matter resulting from, and the body of the deceased was discovered in the morning, dumped that is also along Nebi Pangisi Road in there. And this is something at the end of the day which also we want to avoid, because issues about land ownership really today we are seeing so many land wrangles. Could it be maybe the format of our landship which is now causing the rampant chaos and rampant fights among the members of the community? Because so many times we have also been complaining about our land ownership systems, as others say it is the best. Could it maybe be that as to what is causing the challenges? Because today we realize that so many people are fighting over land ownership in there, because our land is communally owned, and maybe it is also how it is passed from generation to another. And really sometimes today where we are seeing so many people fighting over the boundaries in their titling is always the way to go. For those who have the monies, definitely I would also want to require you now to ensure that your land is first of all surveyed, and then secondly land title processed for it. That would also help issues about people slowly crossing onto their boundaries, and that's already at the end of the day the future generations can also really be also avoided also through fighting maybe through members of the community in there. And I really want to implore now each and everybody to ensure that also this matter is addressed. And the body of the deceased was discovered, and the relatives of the deceased are reiterating also against the murder and claim that she was innocently murdered by the village also met in there. And maybe district police also commander, that is SSP Amisi Kayondo, said they received the information and also about the incident and rushed to the scene, and also despite the area of operation is under also Zobo district in there, and they have to work together. And Amis also added that police also managed also to apprehend suspects in connection to the matter, and also the suspects will be transferred to Zobo district for further interrogations in there. And really this is something also I want to encourage people not to always take the laws into their hands, because you may take the laws into your hands and then you may land in jail. And this is something at the end of the day I really feel that would also be avoided, because issues about people fighting for land, really I want to say, much as land is a precious gift, but really where we are seeing people also fighting for it, it becomes quite unfortunate, because we need to avoid that. At the end of the day, I really feel that is the way to go, because if at all we continue to talk about land grabbing, and then you will be able to know why people continue to fight for it. Because really today what is happening is that people continue to fight for these lands, where we're seeing families fighting with other neighbors, cannot talk to each other because of these issues. And I really feel that is something at the end of the day that also needed to be addressed. If at all we also continue to witness that, then that would also be quite well and good, because if at all we are not talking about the issues of land, then definitely that would also not be quite well. And I really want to implore the people of Zombo to also talk to the people. And while our reporter visited out the scene yesterday morning, the homeless also residents took refuge in the nearby village that's of Lamdin in Labora. And this is also where we did see Florence Otri, a female councillor of Oteko East Parish, who blames police for their late response, also for the emergency also in there. And I want to say these are avoidable issues, and some of the affected also victims held also talked about the same matter. And this is not the very first time we are realizing these issues happening elsewhere in West Nile sub-region. And similarly in 2023, 72 houses also got burned. That's in Labora also village, also by angry mob in there. Also we are retaliating also Ayovo community for Amei parish in revenge also for the murder of 2 people in there, because these issues about protecting the laws into their hands so must be investigated by police. And I want to see police also addressing these matters because really sometimes also really we are seeing people taking the laws in their hands, and really what exactly needs to be done. That is also really where I want to now encourage each and everybody to also have a say on. And moving on from that, let's also really see how public have been urged to use formal procedures to acquire land. Is also another story that we are seeing here to avoid maybe such also will also maybe possible fights. That is also the way to go, as the public in Palorinya have been urged that to use proper documents also really to acquire land for different purposes by the area. And this is also something we did see, and this urge was made by Enang Luke, that is the chairman, that is also really of Local Council 3 Palorinya Sub-County, during a fact-finding meeting organized by Rural Initiative, that is for community empowerment, also really Abbreviated Rice in West Nile, that's in Palorinya Sub-County in there. And the meeting brought in together a number of beneficiaries, both locals and refugees, to discuss that is the impact of the support of the beneficiaries within the area, and also really where the refugees also came together. And this is something also really I want to say that must be that is also really done. And this is because sometimes people buy land that also they do not know that it is a disputed one, and really want to say to avoid such lands that are really involving disputes. And then definitely the way to go is first of all buying when asking for the proper documents, and the proper documents that we are asking here is the land title. And then if there's no land title, what about the lease agreements? And then the area also the officials are being involved in the land also participants there, because land agreements sometimes we see people selling the same land over to 10 people. Really it is quite unfortunate, and this is something we have seen in Arua city here, where the same land can be sold to different people. And really this is to avoid now all this buying land also really through the right procedures is the way to go. And really I want to encourage each and everybody to also really be part of that, and that will be quite good. And Mr. Aldo Anthony, the senior assistant administrative officer, that's Palorinya Sub-County, said also they should also but no, with no change in regards to the usage, control access that's to the land in there. Mr. Chunguza Gordon, or Local Council 3 also official within the refugee camp in Palorinya Sub-County, also said they have been talking also to the office of the Prime Minister and also the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees to provide them land that is only for cultivation, because the refugees cannot be able to also now go ahead and cultivate without also the land which also getting affecting them. And remember today with the issues about food shortage, also where we did see also the food also the portions are also being that is being given also being reduced in there. We are now seeing so many challenges also resulting as a result of that, and I really want to implore each and everybody now to ensure that also they take initiative, also advantage of the land that is in place, and that is something that would also really be quite well. And really, as we get to continue with the show, as we get to summarize with what is happening in and around the world, let's now see what is happening with also the Karuma development, because this is a development story, and this is a development story, and which we are also going to be keeping you updated and informed of until also the works at Karuma work is done. And UNRWA also has warned that is drivers against overspeeding, that is in the National Falls Park. And this is something also where we did see the diversion following the redevelopment of Karuma also bridge in there, which developed also cracks, and also that called for renovation. And today we are now seeing the development works going on, where vehicles that carry more than also really 28 passengers cannot be able to cross over the bridge, but rather they have been gazetted also to use the alternative route that is also really via the national park in there. And today we are seeing following a pronouncement by last week also by also Uganda National Roads Authority to close Karuma bridge. Now we are seeing Uganda Wildlife Authority also really coming up to also really ask the drivers to avoid overspeeding, and the overspeeding is really something that could also really limit, also really put the lives of these animals in danger, because some of these animals may also really want to cross there. And that is why there is also need call for drivers to avoid also overspeeding. And despite the numerous attempts like speed governors, harms also mounted on the road, we also still seeing drivers also really overspeeding there. And a violent effort also is to control also the Tangi gate, also the southern gate, also to avoid also the overspeeding among the drivers. And that is something at the end of the day I feel would also be quite well. And for those who are going to travel maybe within these days, definitely you are going to be using what we call the Karuma bridge, and we do not expect you also to maybe overspeed and maybe travel in a vehicle that could also overspeed. And that is why we must keep on reminding the drivers, because you may also get arrested, that's as passengers also maybe who are also aboard these vehicles, and that would also not be quite well for you also to be arrested in there. And I really feel for those who are going to be moving on these vehicles, you still hold the powers, that is in terms of also reminding the drivers of avoiding overspeeding, because if you knock one animal there, then the burden may entirely fall on you, because you are going to be arrested and kept in there for quite a long period of time, and maybe the vehicle you're traveling in cannot also get impounded in there. That would also really be quite unfortunate. And I really want to take this honor now to also really call upon you as we get the climax of the show. And now, as usual, to summarize today's discussions with, let's see what is happening in the world of sports. and starting it off right from in what we call the Start Times Uganda Premier League. And tonight we are going to be seeing games because today we are not going to be seeing any game on card, but tomorrow, it being a weekend, because Friday is already here, we are heading towards the weekend, and that also tells us why sports is always very much active over the weekends. And tomorrow, Saturday 11th, we are going to be seeing a game that is between also Airtel Kitara Football Club also taking on that's Busoga United in there, as we shall also be witnessing another game that will also be a ginger derby that is between Bull Football Club against also the Gaddafi Football Club in there, as Maroons will be taking that Soltilo Bright Stars. Neck Football Club will also be tussling it out against Vipers, and that is already where I want to say the contention. That's also already where the pressure is mounting. For these teams, also the student also they win the games in there. UPDF will also be playing that Sports Club Villa, as URA Sports Club will be taking on that Kampala City Football Club. Our Wakis Giants will also be playing that Mbara City, and also we shall be seeing more of these games also emerging. And remember, the same on Monday we shall also be seeing more games also next week, and this is also something where I will be able to keep you reminded, as Owen Ezaga together with Linda Susie will be here to take you through the whistle time. And just briefly looking at the table standings, also where we're looking at the teams also standing on the log there, we are having Vipers Football Clubs also being on top of the log, as Bull Football Club comes in the second place, Airtel Kitara comes in the third place, as Sports Club Villa is in the fourth place, KCA comes in the fifth place. And looking at the bottom also, we also need to look at the bottom. Royal Sports Club also remains at the bottom after being relegated and demoted. UPDF comes in on top of Royal, as Gaddafi Football Club is just on top of the log, as Busoga United comes in there, and that the list is followed by Wakiso Giants in there. And I really want to say these are some of the games that will also be going on over the weekend, and for those who love sports, then definitely you should also be also part of that. And remember, over the weekend we also going to be seeing games in the English Premier League, as Fulham will be playing Manchester City, Bournemouth will be playing Brentford, and Everton will be taking on Sheffield United, and Newcastle also will be playing that's against Brighton. We shall also be having a game that's between Tottenham Hotspur, who will be playing against Burnley. West Ham United will be taking Luton Town. Wolves also really will be taking that's Crystal Palace, and these are some of the games that I really feel I must remind you of as we head into the weekend. And I really want to wish you a happy weekend as we come to the climax of today's show. And I want to say thank you so much, whoever watched us from the time we began until this hour of the morning. But before we get to move out, maybe if I can briefly check through some of your comments, I can really see many of them coming in through there. But really, I want to say let's be part of the show, because each and every mornings West Nile Television is here to keep you informed and updated of what is happening right across the West Nile sub-region and the entire country at large, because you are not going to be getting information that is also really and related to West Nile also really at large like that. It only happens here on West Nile Television, and as West Nile Television, our #1 goal remains that is to enlighten the region, and we are not going to be doing that alone. There's somebody who said, Ngamvile, who says it must be counted, and he did ask that is each and everybody to be also ensure that they are counted, because if you're not going to be counted, and then definitely next time you are going to be infringing on the rights of others. The resources you're going to be using may not be meant for you, but rather for somebody else, and that would also cause shortage at the medical facilities, and then the schools may also be overwhelmed with the population, and then other social activities, for instance the nets. Definitely, that is why you must also really ensure that you are counted. For now, allow me to stop here and say thank you so much for those who watched us, and really we wish you a very, very good day and a happy weekend at large.